Joining us now is Harvey Perleberg, the Republican candidate for Grant County Jailer, and thanks for joining us on the show.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me on.
For those that may not already be familiar with you, why don't you tell us a little background on yourself?
My name is Harvey Perleberg. I'm the Grant County Republican Party candidate for jailer. I live here in Grant County. I've been here since about 1984. Came down here to take care of my mother and father, who retired down here, who fell in love with this little community, and I was fortunate enough to spend their last days down here taking care of them. And I fell in love with this community too. Came down here, found a job, worked at the jail for 6 years, decided to raise a family down here. Like I said, I've been down here since '86. Now I'm running for jailer, and now we need to do something to improve this community. I'd like to give something back, if I may.
Okay, let's get with the questions, and we'll start with the jail's budget. Projected $4.2 million in the 2011 fiscal year, and without any funding from housing federal prisoners, a projected $945,000 deficit. Common sense says to balance the budget, you either have to increase income and or reduce spending. Let's start first with the income. Nearly 73% of the income is expected to come from housing state prisoners. But with more and more judges ordering early releases or home incarceration, what are your thoughts on what the jail can actually expect in that particular form of revenue?
First, let me make this perfectly clear to the people and the taxpayers of Grant County. The Grant County Jail was sold to the people of Grant County, and it was said by some officials here in this county that it was going to be a real moneymaker. Anyone who knows anything about corrections whatsoever knows jails do not make money. You can ask any jailer, you can ask any consultant that's involved in the field of corrections. Now, we have it. The problem is now, and the question is, what are we going to do about it? That's a lot of money that you're talking about, and that's your tax money that we're talking about. That projected 73% is a projection like everything else. But I'm going to tell you this. There's been 50 more probation officers put on. And that tells me that there's going to be more releases of prisoners. So what do we have to do? We have to find inventive ways to bring more revenue into the jail. And like I said before, we have real solutions on this. Yes, that's a lot of money, but jails are costly.
Housing federal prisoners would obviously help the income, but that is even more of an uncertainty. What are your thoughts on the current probability of the jail being able to get those prisoners back? What must be done to increase that chance? And even then, what type of financial impact do you think it would make?
Well, first of all, it would make a great deal of difference if we could get the federal inmates back. I don't think that's going to happen. Boone County, Kenton County, they're closer to Cincinnati than we are. It's more cost effective. This whole country is in a financial crisis. Why would the federal government house prisoners down here, transport them from here to Cincinnati when they've got correctional facilities in Covington and Boone County? No, I don't think we're going to get them back. However, if we did get them back, it would be a boon to the jail. The way that we can probably try to entice them back, and this is part of your job in the media, the image of the jail has suffered since 2003. We need to make sure that people around here know that this is a safe and secure place to house prisoners.
Okay, let's look at some of the jail's spending. The current 2011 budget has over $1.58 million appropriated for jail personnel, and that includes the jailer's salary. Now that figure is more than the salaries for the judge executive, the county attorney and his staff, the sheriff, his deputies, clerks and bailiffs, the coroner and deputy coroner, the magistrates, the county treasurer, the building inspector and his secretary, the entire staff at the animal shelter, the solid waste coordinator, the community service coordinator, the parks director and her staff, and everyone in the road department combined. So the question is, why does it cost so much to staff the jail, and are there any alternatives?
Does that include you too?
No, it does not include me.
Okay. Well, first of all, once again, let me say this. This jail was sold to the people of Grant County as a real moneymaker. Well, it doesn't make money, and jails don't make money. Having said that, once again, we're stuck with it. What are we going to do about it? Why does it cost so much money? It's the only facility that I know, other than the Sheriff's Department, and they have backup by the state police at night, that's open 24/7. They have professionals over there that are staffed. They have nurses on call. They have mental health professionals on call, and they're expensive to employ. They have a full-time staff 24/7, like I said. Yes, it costs money, and there's 300 plus inmates over there. So the cost is excessive. What can we do about it? Once again, we can try to bring in more revenue into this county, and once again, we have real solutions for this, not empty promises, as some others may tell you.
If the jail looked at trying to save money by hiring part-time help instead of full-time employees, some would say that you're only opening the door wider for the chance of hiring someone who might be irresponsible on the job, which could lead to personal injury, prisoner escapes, and maybe even more lawsuits. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, once again, part-time employees. Part-time employees, they work a minimum of 25 hours a week. They do not get benefits. They're not dedicated. They don't have a vacation. The people that work at the Grant County Jail, I happen to know this because I just toured the jail. They've been there, and it seems that the limit, the turnover rate is at 5 years. Most of the people that work over there now has been there 8 years or more. So you need dedication, and part-time employees, they're not dedicated. They won't be dedicated because they have no benefits. There's no incentive for them to commit to that type of work.
If you are elected as Grant County's next jailer, what are the 3 top things that you see as absolute musts that need to be accomplished in the next 4 years?
Well, as we said, the first thing that we have to do is bring in more revenue. Now, it doesn't take someone with a business degree to know that you spend more money than you bring in, you're always going to be in debt. So we have to find ways of bringing that revenue in. I propose, and I believe they're working on it as we speak, they have a wonderful, what they call a SAP program, a substance abuse program over there, that the state subsidizes. I think if you increase this by 2 to 3-fold and try to get other surrounding counties having a regional facility over here for this, the state will subsidize that. Now, hopefully, that will bring the deficit way down. These are things that we need to look into. Procuring our own food is another thing that we need to look into. Perhaps the reworking the work program. Like I said before, any 4th grader will tell you, like they say in the commercial, when you find yourself in a hole, quit digging. We have to find ways to bring more money in. And like I said again, we have real positive solutions for this.
Okay. In closing, tell our viewers why you are the candidate of choice for Grant County Jailer.
I want to tell everybody here that's watching this show tonight that this election is not about how much money you have, what your family members do for a living, or if they're politically connected. This election is about 3 things. It's about experience. And as far as experience is concerned, I have twice the experience as my opponent. I have almost 6 years in correctional facility. My opponent has 3. I have 3 years in as a private investigator that covers the investigations. I was the head of Baldwin Piano Security for like 3.5 years. So as far as experience is concerned, and my maturity gives me a clear advantage over my opponent. The second is leadership. Leadership entails more than just inspiring the people that work for you. We've already taken steps. We've visited the Hamilton County Justice Center with Sheriff Simon Lease. We've toured his jail, and we sat down and we've talked with him. We've toured the Grant County Jail. We've went to Switzerland County, Indiana. We've been to Brown County, Ohio. We've been to Hamilton County, Ohio. We've toured these jails. That's leadership. Finding out what other jails have, what their problems are, and seeing what the solutions that they have taken. That's what I call leadership. But the most important, We don't want this to be like Washington down here in Grant County. That's your money over at the jail. That's your tax money. I think it's wrong for people to spend your tax money and not tell you what it's going for. And if I'm elected jailer, I will tell you this. We're not going to make any promises we can't keep. But what we are going to do, we're going to ask for a full state audit to let you, the taxpayers, know where your money is being spent.
Mr. Perleberg, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
Harvey Perleberg, the Republican candidate for Grant County Jailer, and we will continue with our election preview in just a moment.